And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, across our beloved Kyber where the action keeps on coming. Around here, where you're watching Arnold Holland News, the only news you'll ever need, because you have no other choice. Today, we got the Saw Gerrera kit reveal. I was actually kind of not expecting. We just had Tarful last week. We actually just posted kind of like a Tarful review today. And we got basically the final requirement for Cal Kestis, which right now at the recording, we're streaming Jedi Survivor Part 2 of our playthrough, despite a lot of bugs holding us. We're having a lot of fun, but now we have the final requirement for this guy that you're gonna be unlocking very shortly, I presume. And Saw Gerrera, come on over. Let me show you what we got. Let me summarize it this way. For all my folks who've been playing Galaxy of Heroes in 2016, 2017, remember how dominant Biggs, Wedge were in 2016. Remember how dominant Baze and Shrewd were end of 2016, pretty much throughout 2017. Now we're taking this guy who's taking 2x meta teams, merging them on one, and doing some crazy firepower stuff. Yeah, everyone say hi. Say hi. Yeah, I swear, every time we're doing something non-Galaxy Hero, CG's dropping kit reveals. So maybe I gotta just keep streaming non-Galaxy Hero stuff and you get new characters every single day and we can finally get Jar Jar. I digress. Moving on. Checking this out marquee, likely this Thursday. So if, I don't know, you want to maybe see God's Gift to Mobile Gaming, the greatest mobile gamer, test out this character. Really excited to try this out. So Thursday, Grand Arena, Saw Gerrera testing. And heads up as well, looks like we're going to be getting our title update, which introduces the Crate Dragon Hunt, the new raid. I don't know if that means we're going to play the Crate Dragon raid this week. Maybe there's going to be like a timer cooldown. All I'm saying is, put it on your radar. We're going to have our first Crate Dragon raid experience. So a lot of stuff going on in Star Wars right now. Also, support leader Rebel Fighter tag. I was kind of expecting a new tag, but they're basically taking the leftover Rebel Fighters not used with Mon Mothma, putting them here, which generally is this over here. Baze is sometimes used with Radis, but not necessary. I want to say I disagree with the light side tag. This guy killed innocent bystanders. This guy wanted to basically just completely finish off the Geonosian species. So I'm just putting it out there. I call BS-ery on this light side neutral at best. But just because he's working for the Rebel, I got to sprinkle little fairy dust. Everything he's doing is good. He's a good guy at the end of the day. Lies, deception, as he would like to say. Complicated kit. And it's also organized in a very odd way, but I'll organize it a little bit more clearly for you guys. And getting into our first ability, the basic ability, critical shot. Deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict defense down for 2 turns. I'm going to give you guys a quick, brief Cliff Note session on the important aspects of Wedge, Biggs, Shrewd, and Baze that we here on our live stream kind of reminded ourselves about. Defense down, it's going to be kind of nice, especially with Wedge. If all allies are Rebel fighters, the cooldown of the RPS-6 rocket launcher blast is reduced by 1. Speaking of which, let's just move on over to the RPS-6 rocket launcher blast. Cooldown of 6 or cooldown of 5 if you have a full Rebel fighter team. For each buff ally and enemy, let's just put this way. I don't suspect buffs are going to be a hard issue on your side. Buff immunity could get in the way potentially. You're going to remove 5% turn it from all enemies and reduce all enemies' offense by 2%, which has an uncapped stack, so a bajillion percent, until the start of Saw's next turn, which can't be evaded or resisted. So no amount of tenacity. Tenacity is going to stop you. So if you have 5 buffed allies, 5 buffed enemies, that's right there. Quite a nice chunk of turn meter that you're going to knock out. So what is that? 25%? On each side, so possibly 50% turn removal, and then also tons of offense depending on how many buffs you dispel, so kind of a lot of stuff. But interesting enough, you're going to dispel all buffs on all allies as well, so that's the first of its kind. We don't have any abilities really to dispel all the buffs on your side of the field on all characters. Pretty nutty stuff. And then, but don't worry about that. That's actually not going to be bad, as you're going to see dispelling your own buffs is going to be kind of beneficial, as we'll see. And Rebel Fighter allies recover 20% health for each stack of heal over time dispelled from all allies. And if you guys remember, we're going to remind you in a little bit about Shrewd. Let's just say heal over times will not be in short supply. And Saw Gerrera is basically going to cash in on the heal over times right away. So don't worry about it. Then deal physical damage to all enemy. And inflict blind for 2 turns are, I think, second, technically third, I suppose. AoE blind character. 3PO and Chewie, obviously the one that comes to mind. 8th brother, AoE, if there's Jedi, he inflicts blind on everyone. This is going to be our third one. So especially for all those blind feats and conquests, he might come in handy right there, which is nice. I'm going to save this ability later. It's confusing reading it in this order. I think it was weird to write it this way. What I want to do is just go straight to the unique and leadership ability, and then we'll talk about that ability up above with the explosive trap. Adapt or survive, taking a little page out of Iden Versio's book. We adapt and survive tonight. You know how it goes. Saw Gerrera gains 30% max health. Keep the max health bookmarked in your mind. It's going to be very important when we look at explosive trap. If all allies are rebel fight at the start of battle, which you're probably going to want it to be that way, the first time each non-tank ally falls below 50% health, check this out. They dispel all debuffs on themselves, gain 3 stacks of heal over time, and keep track of heal over time. Heal over time, each stack is going to count as 5 speed, as you'll see with the lead. So it's not just healing, it's supercharging the speed too. A lot of speed scaling going on lately in the game. And then they're going to get stealth, and they're going to keep that stealth until they are fully healed. And then when you're fully healed, the stealth goes away, or whenever the stealth just expires, maybe from a buff immunity or something, they recover 100% protection and gain 30% critical damage. So basically fully healing the protection and the health pool of these characters. That's pretty nuts. But what if you're a tank, Baze Malbus? Well, let's check this out. If all allies are rebel fighters at the start of the battle, the first time a tank ally, Baze Malbus, falls below 50% health, they dispel all debuffs on themselves, gain 3 stacks of heal over time. So keeping track, that's 15 extra speed at the Saw lead. We'll get you there, don't you worry, you'll figure it out. And you get critical hit immunity, defense up, and a taunt until they're healed to full health. And then when this taunt expires, they recover 100% health and gain 25% critical points and defense for the rest of the encounter. So when you're working on Baze, you give him the 50% health, boom, heal over time is turning on, critical immunity, defense up, and of course, he's gonna get the not a perma taunt, but it's a taunt that's gonna stay on point until he heals up all the way. Pretty nice. Baze is gonna be taunting quite a lot. This is gonna really tie everything together, make a lot more sense of things. Freedom isn't free. And as I joked about it a little bit ago, so is Saw Gerrera. He's not free either. Another 30% max health right there. So far, if you're keeping track, that's 30% max health there, 30% max health there. And I'm going to cheat a little bit. It's got an Omicron for Grand Arena, which has my interest, which adds another 30% max health. So 90% max health. And don't forget, we got to explain why this max health is important. If all allies are rebel fighter at the start of the battle, allies have plus 30% critical damage while they have full health, plus 30% defense, and plus 10 speed while they don't have full health. But get a load of this, as you'll see in a moment. You're going to get plus 5 speed, which is stacking up to a maximum of 50 for each stack of heal over times on them. Wow, that's going to be a lot, Arnold. I know. Let's keep moving, though. And Saw is going to gain the granted ability Explosive Trap, which I'll read with you guys in a moment. But let's keep reading the rest of this. At the start of the encounter, Saw gains speed up. It's going to be curious to see what his base speed is going to be like, but nonetheless, speed up with all these heal over time. It's going to be kind of a big deal. All allies above 10% health lose 10% health, gain critical damage up for 1 turn, and gain 2 stacks of heal over time. So right there, that's an extra 10 speed just from those 2 stacks of heal over time. So you're not starting off at 100% health, you're starting off at 90% health. A little odd, right? Well, let's keep reading though. At the end of Saw's turns, all allies above 15% health lose 50% health, and they keep getting stacks of heal over time for 1 turn. I think it's going to make more sense when we talk about Wedge. It seems weird, but you're going to be like, oh, wow, that's actually kind of bigger than it comes across. I know, right? That's what I was thinking, too. Whenever a buff expires on an ally, they gain tenacity up for 1 turn and additional bonuses depending on their role. But it excludes revived allies. So Scareful Pathfinder is not going to work too well here. Now, whenever an ally recovers health, all allies gain 1% max health and often stacking to a maximum of 100% for the rest of the encounter. So a lot to unpack there. So you're already down with health at the very beginning, but that's fine because you want to recover health. If you're at 100% health, you can't recover any more health. So you want to be able to recover health to get extra max health increases. And Saw Gerrera already has 90% to himself. You want to get that offense stacking for Wedge, Biggs, True. They're going to do some massive damage. And on top of that, you want to dispel your own buffs through Saw Gerrera's rocket ability that we talked about earlier on. It's dispelling buffs any other way, because when you're losing buffs, your attackers are getting offense up. I'm assuming that's going to be great for Wedge, Biggs, True. I'm sorry, Wedge and Biggs. Actually, is Biggs is support, right? Biggs is support character, I believe, right? I gotta double check. And they're both support. Yeah, so all right, ignore that. Wedge would get the attacker bonuses here. We're jumping a little too far ahead of ourselves. Baze is gonna get taunt so much. So when Baze loses taunt, he's gonna get the taunt back. Support and healers. So Chirrut, Saw, Biggs, they're gonna have their cooldowns reduced by 1 and gain 25% turn meter. Huh. It's like Comrade in Arms already only has a 2-turn cooldown. This basically means you're always going to use Comrade in Arms. So kind of a big deal. And now you get this granted ability, Set Explosive Trap. Let's hold off one more second on that. Let's read the Omicron before we read the granted ability. In Grand Arena, so I'm already a fan of it. It's not Territories. Grand Arena is just more frequent than Territory Wars. I think it's a little bit more fun. Crystals are there. Yeah, we don't need to go through the whole argument. We got our other 30% max health. Whenever Saw uses a Set Explosive Trap, which we'll read it here in a moment, he takes a bonus turn, and then he's increasing the cooldowns of all the enemies by 1. So a Darth Nihilus, it's kind of like a Darth Nihilus. He's got an AoE buff to spell, cooldown increases, and I didn't even read what Explosive Trap does. But at the start of each ally's turn, inflict defense down on the weakest enemy until the end of that turn. Again, we'll go through that, which can't be resisted. And if the enemy has a taunt effect and Explosive Trap has detonated, inflict mark on the weakest enemy until the end of that turn. So a way to get around some tanks that might be in your way, and it can't be evaded or resisted. Whenever an ally uses a special ability during their turn, they call themselves to assist. And then whenever a buff expires, gain 3 stacks of heal over time, i.e. another 15 speed. So buff expiring is perfectly fine. You want to be able to have the buffs go away. So it's a lot to break down. I got one more thing to throw your way, so hopefully we're not losing you. We're going to tie it all together. Don't you worry. There's a lot to go over. We got to remind you of 2016, 2017, especially if you weren't there to see it happen. So granted ability. So if Saw's leading full Rebel Fighter team, boom, you're going to get this Explosive Trap. What happens is when you use it, you inflict 15 stacks of Explosive Trap. And the best way to say what that is, it's a timer. Every time an enemy is, sorry, we went too far. You're going to apply Explosive Trap on all enemies for the rest of the encounter, which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, or resisted. And critical damage down for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted. When Explosive Trap detonates, remove it from all enemies. If there's only 1 active enemy, Explosive Trap detonates at the end of Saw's turn. So what happens here, you start at 15 and you slowly, the countdown goes off. You lose 1 stack whenever another ally takes a turn or uses a special ability. So if you're like running and running and running, which isn't too out of the ordinary as what we're going to see, you add 0 stacks, or when it's removed, it explodes at the end of the turn. Allies that detonate it are stunned for 1 turn, which can't be evaded or resisted when exploding. Take damage equal to 30% of Saw of the. So this is worded very weirdly. It says enemy Saw Gerrera. I think the way you got to read it is if you were the enemy reading what the hell's about to happen to you. Enemy Saw Gerrera, which means it's weird. It's worded like in a 3rd-person sense. So as the enemy team takes turns, they're using their own special abilities. Eventually, it goes off, and then the damage it's based off of the enemy or you, the person who has Saw Gerrera's max health. So low star viability might not be great, but you have 90% max health as we've seen, which can't be evaded. Can't defeat this character, and then you gain burning and stagger for 4 turns, which can't be dispelled, evaded. 4 turns is an absurdly long time. Can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted. So hope that makes sense. If you're reading this as if like you have the Explosive Trap on you, and you're like, oh crap, every time I'm taking turns and using special abilities, the countdown's going, and then this happens. So it's very weirdly worded. Hopefully that makes sense. I had to read it a few times myself to get sense of all this. So what I want to kind of highlight now is why we see Wiggs Chaze. This means Wedge and Biggs. Chaze means Trude and Baze. Old acronyms from way back in the day. It's a little bit weird how to read it. I know the chats. Yeah, we're all catching up. But let's give you a highlight on this ideal team that we're looking at. I want to start off with Wedge. We explained a lot of the benefits with not starting off with full health, because as you heal, you're getting offense, health increases, yada yada yada. But check this out. Wedge has plus 12% offense and 9 speed for each ally with full health. But what I'm more interested in is this. You're going to get plus 15 speed for each ally without full health. So everyone's losing their health at the beginning. That means Biggs is going to get, Wedge, he's going to start off with, what is it? 60 speed, right? 60 speed? 60 speed. And that's pretty much going to be consistent throughout the battle. And then don't forget, Biggs also gets those bonuses as well. So Biggs and Wedge are going to be pretty darn fast. And keep in mind as well, we have a lot of defense down stuff already going on with Wedge. And if there's already defense down, you're going to deal 50% more damage on them. And then I'm assuming defense down in general is just going to allow you for a lot more damage output on the team with these AoEs. But let's read Biggs. So remember, Biggs gets those bonuses. So 60 speed just from all your allies not having any health on them at the very beginning, which there's a lot of several layers on this cake here. With Biggs, we already talked about the cooldown reduction. Since he's support, he's always pretty much gonna have Comrade in Arms ready to go off cooldown, which is pretty nice, right? Adrenaline Rush, he's gonna get 100% turn meter after surviving any damage from an Empire enemy or critical hits from any enemy. So constantly coming in, using that assist ability, it's gonna be pretty scary stuff. And of course, Biggs already hits hard. He's kind of like the old school Dash Renard. Even though he's support, he's really dishing a lot of damage out there. Chirrut, I think, is probably the second most important character outside of Wedge, as well as Saw, because of this right here. When a rebel ally is critically hit, they gain heal over time. So 5 speed, 5 speed, 5 speed, 5 speed, constantly stacking throughout the course of the battle. And then at the end of each turn, start of each turn, if Chirrut's alive, all allies with heal over time, they were going to bring 4% health. So I just want to remind you guys, Chirrut back in the day, he was the reason why they had to condense the UI, because there were just so many buffs on the field. So for those that didn't play the game back then, you have the nice collapsible menu. It just shows you how many of a status effect there is. It's because of this guy. So if you look at this, for example, base has 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and I believe it caps out at 50. You can't get any more. So it's going to be very easy to juice up the speed. Actually, I did the math incorrectly. There's more than 4. So my calculation on the Wedge's speed is a little bit off. So it should be, what is it, 75? He should have 75 speed, right? 15 plus 15 is 30, 45, 60. Yeah, so he should have, 75 speed and Biggs too. So I missed out. I forgot that count. It counts everyone, even himself, right? Yeah, for each ally, right? Yeah, each ally counts himself. So yeah, even faster. And then base Malbus, nothing as crazy to unveil like the other characters we mentioned, but keep in mind, lots of max health increases for him. Chirrut, he taunts a lot, gets retribution a lot, pre-taunts. Like he's got an AoE buff to spell, so you have Saw Gerrera's buff to spell, Baze's buff to spell, and then you have the buff flipping. There's a lot going on. My questions are the following. We were asking, is there anything anti-Wampa, anti-Darth Vader, anti-Imperial Troopers? Maybe. I think with Imperial Troopers, with the constant heal over times increasing more speed through Chirrut, maybe that's gonna be a way for maybe Saw Gerrera to make a comeback on Imperial Troopers. But if, as we said, if you can get beaten by a Darth Vader solo, Wampa, Imperial Troopers, you might not be the best thing on defense. We gotta wait and see. Point I'm getting at is, as a veteran player, seeing these two metas kind of be squished into one, I'm curious to see what they're up to. Again, taking as much as possible with your roster and making them even better. And especially if you go for like Master Luke and whatnot, you want to take advantage of your Wiggs and Biggs and stuff like that. So we'll have to wait and see. Burning was shut off Imperial Trooper Terminator. True, but you have to have the, you got to have this trigger. And if you don't get explosive trap under, I think it's going to depend how fast you can get explosive trap. If you can get explosive trap out there, and then, yeah, they're done for. They're going to get burning. The Terminator gets shut down. Bon voyage, as I like to say. So time will tell. I'm really excited to try this out on Thursday. So hope to see you guys here. I'm curious to see when this Crate Dragon raid drops. Man, there's a lot going on. I'm really excited. Very excited to play our Jedi Survivor, although it's been very buggy on PC. Nonetheless, been a ton of fun hanging out with you guys. Leave a like, comment down below on all your thoughts. I hopefully was able to summarize a lot of the key beats with Saw Gerrera and these other leftover Rebel fighters. Point being is, yeah, it's kind of great for the Rebels, but don't forget, my friends, it's also great to be in the Empire today.